how many competitions must one have in a lane almost?
Well, I guess the other question is how much
difference are you noticing? Are the potencies continuing to increase? Because
yes,
the testing, I mean, that's kind of one of the most amazing things about analysis is the analysis can change the very nature of what is being analyzed by virtue of having access to analysis.
Yeah.
We are going to be creating new things for analysis. And so I imagine that the analysis itself has resulted in increased potency strains being developed.
I'd agree.
I would say so. And it has less to do with the strain itself and more to do with the supporting of the strain. So it's like the three major factors that go into a potent mushroom are how you cultivate it, its genetics, and then furthermore, how you're treating it as you're afterwards. So you've harvested it. Are you air drying it? Are you freeze drying it? So those are the three major factors. And they can get more nuanced in there. Like as far as cultivation, the three dials are air exchange, temperature, and light. And honestly, a lot of people are doing that light part incorrectly. But that's a different conversation to have as far as targeting, what are the optimal conditions for each organism. But furthermore, those are the things that people are changing, not necessarily like creating new organisms, but creating different means of cultivation and post-harvest handling.
Another thing that we've noticed that the testing has impacted and has created a debate that I think is seismic right now. It's in the community, like we're talking about it, but I think that folks outside of the community are going to be faced with having this conversation very soon as well. And it's defining a dose. Right now, it's a big conversation. It's like, okay, how does one define
a dose of mushrooms? And you could probably talk more about this because people, there's a conversation between you and Dave that runs the Mushroom Church right now about should we measure it in milligrams per gram or should we measure it in micrograms? Or should we base it? Dave has created an entire chart that supposedly you can create. Supposedly you should be able to predict how much of any type of mushroom that you need to have a breakthrough experience.
Because 3.5 grams.
When I was growing up, was considered what you needed to take to trip. Now, we've tested and I've consumed the mushrooms to make sure, and 0.7 is a full trip. A full trip. Now imagine if I'm running around here thinking that 3.5 grams of this shit, Pinellius bisporus, and Pinellia sempervita, right?
Semperviva, yeah.
Semperviva. Imagine if I am running around here thinking that 3.5 grams of this is a full trip, and I take 3.5 grams of what really I only need 0.7 of to get where I want to go. You're gonna see God. You're gonna see God. You're gonna see God.
I mean, that's the conversation that we're seeing right now is, we don't understand we don't have a good grasp on what a true dose should be. So like, I actually have this whole argument that a lot of the issues that people maybe anecdotally faced
before 2020 around I had a bad trip was maybe because they just had an overdosed experience. I mean, it's something if we work under predictions. We are very much a predictive species. If something happens outside of our predictions,
that becomes anxiety-inducing, it becomes scary. And sometimes some people do not have the skill sets to handle anxiety or fear, and that can lead to bad trips. I'm not saying it's a guarantee or that is the logic. I'm saying it is a point in the conversation I think is worth having. Point in the conversation I think is worth having. Point in the conversation I think is worth having. I think is worth having.
You're gonna see God. You're gonna see God. You're gonna see God.
Demons be gone.
Be gone, demons.
Be gone.
Leave this studio!